Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in the buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, letting the artificial intelligence do all the work, and increase conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. All right, everyone, welcome to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. Today, we are joined by Karolina Wężyk. She's the head of growth at Singu. Karolina, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, Karolina. So obviously doing our research here in the team, reaching out to you, we checked out Singu, but I would love it if you could just give us, give me personally and our audience an intro to what you guys do and who you serve.
Yeah, of course. So the way that I like to describe it is imagine managing your entire building operations in one place for your entire asset portfolio. Accessible anytime, anywhere, and designed in a way that allows your team to collaborate and work efficiently. So that's what Singu does. It replaces outdated, often very manual processes with a streamlined cloud-based platform that integrates seamlessly with tools that you're already using. This could be your ERP, your warehouse management system, your CRM, your SharePoint, for example. So we're a leading software solution for facility and maintenance management, specifically targeting commercial real estate. We currently cover over 200 million square meters of gross leasable area and serve more than 120,000 users worldwide, while enjoying a 99.6% retention rate, which we are very proud of. So fundamentally, what Singu does, it empowers its users to take control of their property operations and tap into meaningful savings as a result of improved operational efficiency.
Got it. Okay, that's interesting. Is there a specific type of business that you find you're working with the most, or maybe an industry that you feel you're able to serve best when they come to you?
Yeah, so our primary focus, as I mentioned, is commercial real estate. So here specifically, warehousing, logistics, shopping centers, retail parks, retail chains, and offices. However, to be honest, given that we've been on the market for more than 15 years, our span goes far beyond that. And some of our clients include medical facilities, luxury residential properties, student housing, and I think we even have a zoo in our client base.
Wow.
So we definitely have a far reach in terms of the segments that we cater to. And we do not discriminate.
I'm sure you don't. So who within a company then? Is it the facility manager? I guess, this is, me trying to understand a little bit more about your world in that sense, right? Who would be your ideal client in the sense that, who reaches out to you and who do you do more of your business with? If that makes sense.
Yeah, so to be honest, given that we address a pretty simple yet complex problem, which is the complexity of property operations on their standalone basis, we have our end users who are usually technical managers. We have tenants, given that we have a dedicated tenant portal. We have asset managers who are more focused on the dashboard view that Singu provides and are more looking at the portfolio view of the property's performance. We have different types of users, and we have over 15 active modules that we can choose from. The problem fundamentally that we are trying to address is the complexity of fragmented data. So managing properties across local, regional, or international portfolios can be very complicated because they depend on a wide number of stakeholders that usually make decisions based on fragmented information that is stored on a piece of paper or on an offline version of an Excel. And that usually leads to A, lack of standardization, B, low operational efficiency, C, human error, and D, we're talking about a very costly maintenance of such an asset portfolio. So Singu tries to address that by centralizing all of these workflows, centralizing all of these stakeholders, and centralizing all of these data points on an easy to use, intuitive digital platform. So as a result, because this is a problem that is relevant to, you know, the end user, the person that is actually addressing the reported issue at the building, as well as the asset owner, as well as the tenant who's renting this building, this property from the owner. I wouldn't say we are targeting a specific user base just because we offer a pretty wide range in terms of the services. We offer streamlining of the reactive and preventive maintenance. We centralize asset management dashboards. We ensure consistency across all of your assets through comprehensive property inspections and audits. We boost tenant experience through a dedicated portal that allows the tenant to communicate directly with the asset manager and report an issue. And we obviously we also offer a pretty robust data analytics and reporting dashboard that also is applicable to all of these users that I mentioned before. So once again, not a single user group or a stakeholder that we target, but we have a dedicated value proposition for each of these persona.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, it sounds like there's a variety of people really that could potentially, you know, get help from you and need your software. But how does, so let's say, for example, you know, within that audience, there's a facility manager, right? I go back to that because that's the only example I can think of right now. How would I find out about you? And I guess in a sense, you know, I want to understand a little bit more about your acquisition channels.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, so to be honest, pretty wide range of channels that we're tapping into. We see a lot of leads coming from organic search. So this is a typical prospect who knows that they have a problem. They don't really need an education on the pain point itself, and they type in facility management solution, and Singu is pretty high up there in terms of the search results. So then through the website, through our CTAs, such a person is able to book a demo, talk to one of our pre-sales specialists, and learn more about the product and the services that we offer. But we also see that the partnerships that we've built throughout the years also are generating leads. We're also able to tap into those facility managers that you mentioned, given that we have sales partners in Japan, Mexico, Spain, where we don't have a dedicated sales team on the ground. We also have strategic partnerships with project managers such as Pack Group, management consulting firms who also identify issues during their projects that they're not able to address because they don't have let's say a software solution that is able to do what we're doing, and they recommend us. So these partnerships are also, let's say, leading these facility managers into our inbox, basically. But we also put a lot of effort into building these face-to-face interactions. So we attend conference events. Some of them obviously attract a different crowd, so a different stakeholder group, let's say the asset managers, but we also attend conferences which are strictly facility management focused. And I think this year alone, we're attending 45 industry conferences in addition to intimate networking events. So that's a pretty robust outreach strategy that we have in place. And we see it working because for the first time this past few months, we've also been receiving leads as a result of us being either shortlisted, nominated, or actually given an award. So recently we received the Retail Tech Provider of the Year award at the Retail Awards Gala. And on top of it, we've been now shortlisted for a Compliancy Award and a Tech Provider of 2025 award. So we see that facility managers also look at these rankings, also look at these award recognitions, and it is a stamp of approval that is definitely helping us in many ways.
Right.
So those are some of it, but to be honest, the most interesting source that I must admit I've experienced when I joined Singu is the power of word of mouth. And it's incredible how the real estate industry is based on relationships. And this is one of the first things that stood out to me, is that all of these people, let's say in the Poland logistics industry, they know each other. They interact on a frequent basis at these industry events, at these networking events, and they talk about what they use, what works, what doesn't. And to be honest, our clients are our best advertisement campaigns, and we're continuously putting additional efforts to make sure that our clients are satisfied, to ensure that we maintain that 99.6% retention rate. But to be honest, they've been incredibly helpful in just referring us to their counterparts. And also we see people who change employers and they want Singu in their new place of employment, which has been also a pretty impressive finding in the recent years.
I'm sure that helps a lot. And look, the what you mentioned about that FaceTime, doing the events, and now the word of mouth, it's impressive, and I guess in a way surprising, in a sense that, you know, we're always more and more digitally based, right? We always, you know, we are having this call over Zoom, and you know, that's what we used to, but at the end of the day, human connection is made in person, right? But I do wanted to touch on something interesting. I think you said, and it will be interesting for our SaaS founders and marketers out there, which is, you know, you use your website for booking demos, for example, okay? So is there any, you can draw from your general experience here, it doesn't have to be a Singu necessarily, but generally speaking, is there anything you've learned about what makes a great converting website? You know, it could be booking more demos, could be anything else really, but if you could share any tips with our audience, that would be great.
Yeah, so to be honest, when I've been looking at how our website modernized in the recent year, something that really stood out and was also extensively, let's say, investigated was something that one of our clients mentioned, that in the current age that we live in, where we are just overwhelmed with data, information's choices, sales buzzwords and like the typical language that maybe would work a few years ago, that something is great, is just not enough. And what, in my opinion, a good website needs to provide is evidence of the impact that we're actually able to drive. So something on top of the industry best practices, you know, the intuitive navigation, user-friendly interface, basically a website that is clean enough for the user to navigate easily, that goes without saying. However, the second step, especially relevant to our industry, is providing a very rich resource library. In the sense, in our case, it's case studies, use cases, customer testimonials. So basically a stamp of approval of market players that trusted us. And we actually did something with this trust and converted that into value for them. And what type of value, what type of KPIs were we able to drive? So when we go onto the Singu website, what you'll see is a big focus on our customer stories. And in each of them, we try to also pinpoint that value-oriented messaging with clear KPIs that we were able to drive. We also try to keep those case studies in a user-friendly format, right? So we don't want to overwhelm someone with a 20-page report in a Times Roman font. We want to keep it engaging, and we actually managed to record a lot of these case studies with the end users at the client site, which is which once again shows that this tool is being used and adopted well. So those are the things that I noticed had a big change in terms of lead generation for us. Once we started showing our partners and the impact we were driving, we had a significant increase in the call to actions of booking the demo, having that introductory meeting. So that was one thing. An area that we're continuously improving is we see that the core markets that we're focusing on, they want a very high degree of personalization in terms of the content. So it's if, let's say, I'm a facility manager at a warehouse, I want to see a case study that you've done at the warehouse for, let's say, a quote from a facility manager, someone who understands my pain points and uses the same language I would use when talking about the problem that I face. And in the past, localization was solely around language options, but it's more than that. We see that a lot of markets have certain nuances in terms of pain points due to legislation, due to market practices, due to the nature of the competitive landscape and the quality of service that certain vendors provide. And those nuances need to be captured in these case studies to make sure that these users from various parts of the world feel understood and listened to. So that's something that we continuously improve because it is an ongoing effort, but it is important.
It is important indeed, and I like that you highlighted the keeping things simple, and case studies at the end of the day is nothing crazy, but they're so effective, right? Yeah. So, yeah, good advice. I appreciate it. Okay, since we're coming towards the end of the interview, I want to switch gears a little bit, and we have a rapid fire question segment that we'd love for us to go through. So the only rule we have here, Karolina, is that short and crisp answers are allowed.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's one thing that you need to focus on a day-to-day basis?
Collaboration, lack of silos.
Okay. What's the last book you've read?
Measure What Matters by John Doerr.
Nice. What's one single thing that Singu is focused on at the moment the most?
International expansion.
Good. So imagine no boundaries in technology, right? What's one thing that you would want to have fixed for your roles as head of growth today?
I would appreciate probably an AI-powered platform that would help me centralize all of the marketing data from all of our channels in one place and truly provide a 360-degree of our customer journeys. So currently we see that a lot of the data is fragmented across CRMs, websites, social media, podcasts. It is a simple exercise of measuring an ROI on any of these campaigns at a given channel is a very complicated exercise. So I would love a real-time platform that would do this for me. Which would allow us to then hyper-personalize all of the content in real time and in the end boost conversion.
Nice. So if you could pick one task that you do every day that you could automate, what would it be?
I think this would be integration and analysis of all of this outreach data. So having stats of website, and we have all of this information is just fragmented, and it takes time to unify it, standardize it, and bring it all together and actually interpret it. It would be great if on a daily basis, I could go into one dashboard and see all of the incoming traffic and where did we lose a customer and what was the user and where was the last thing that they looked at and why did they close the website or why did they not finish the post. Anything like this would really be helpful in us adapting our marketing strategy and focusing on the channels that are most profitable for us, which would help us also save a lot of resources in the end and make the strategy more efficient.
Well, if anyone out there is working on something like this or know a solution, then they know they'll have to reach out to you, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, Karolina, I want to thank you for being on the show with us today. I want to give you the last word also. So if someone forgets everything about what we talked about today, what do you think is the one thing they should remember about the work you guys are doing at Singu?
I think the one thing that I would really want people to recognize is that the problem that we're solving doesn't sound like rocket science, but it is actually a problem that a lot of companies are struggling with. And this lack of centralized information is really costing people a lot of resources. And we're trying to address it with a solution that sounds simple, but it addresses the problem at its root. So that's what I would want to emphasize.
Amazing. So if anyone wants to check out Singu, should they go?
Singu.com.
There you go. Easy enough. Amazing. Karolina, thank you again for being on the show with us today, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, and
Of course.
looking forward to staying in touch.
Bye, everyone.